So have you ever wondered why any real number to the 0 power equals 1? I don't know. But let's see if we can figure it out. Let's see if we can prove it using our exponent properties. We're going to use the product of powers property and the quotient of powers property to prove that any real number to the 0 power equals 1. So let's start with the product of powers property. And we're going to work backwards to prove this. So let's start with an example problem. I've got 2 times 1/2. So what is 2 times 1/2? Well, half of 2 equals 1. So I know that 2 times 1/2 equals 1. Well, here's what we can do. We can express these numbers as exponents and see how it works that anything to the 0 power equals 1. So I have 2. Any number has an understood exponent of 1. So I've got 2 to the first power. Well, that fraction of 1/2, I can express it using a negative exponent. I'm going to use the denominator as my base. So that's 2, and it's going to be the negative first power. Because really 1/2, when I'm using negative exponents, it's a reciprocal. Okay, so that's why I'm using the negative exponents. That tells me it's the reciprocal. Okay. So let's do it. I know that using my product of the powers property, I add my exponents. So I've got 2, and then 1 plus a negative 1 equals 0. Well, I just proved up here that 2 times 1/2 equals 1. Well, the laws of math are not going to change, so 2 to the 0 power is 1. So I've proved it using the product of powers property. So let's see if we can prove it using the quotient of powers property. So I'm going to make up another example problem, and we're going to work backwards to prove it. So let's use some different numbers. I'm going to use 4 divided by 4. Well, we know 4 divided by 4 is 1. We learned that in the 3rd grade. So 4 divided by 4 is 1. So what we can do is we're going to prove it using the quotient of powers property by expressing these numbers as exponents. So for 4, I'm going to use a base of 2. So I know that 2 to the 2nd power equals 4, so I can express 4 as 2 to the 2nd power. And I'm going to divide that by 4, which would be the exact same thing, 2 to the 2nd power. Well, I know if I divide using exponents, I'm going to subtract. My base stays the same at 2. And then 2 minus 2 is 0. Well, I know that 4 divided by 4 is 1, so 2 to the 2nd power divided by 2 to the 2nd power equals 2 to the 0 power. That still has to equal 1. So I've used the product of powers property and the quotient of powers property to prove that any number to the 0 power is 1.